Mr. Boswell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think a word that's hit me hardest today has been the word sobering.
All right. Yeah.
And as I heard the testimony of Kristen Stephen, caused me to do a little flashback in my earlier life when I had to spend a lonely night, as some of the rest of you have done, to write to the loved ones why their loved one was lost in the battlefield that day. I've sensed your pain. I love you, respect you, and want you to have relief. And I see the relief for you is to see that these lessons learned are learned and filed and not have to be learned again. I used to work for Admiral Fluckey, probably the most decorated living American. You put that in your lessons learned file and don't have to learn it again. And that's what I hope we accomplish here. I feel like that maybe my colleague from the Senate that said that maybe we don't need this extra blue ribbon panel after listening to Kristen and Stephen, I think he made a pretty good case. Maybe we do need it. And I wonder about the time and the resource and availability to us to finish this job. So I trust that the days lying ahead of you, Mr. Chairman, you're going to be dealing with that over this side of the operation, and I know you'll give it serious consideration. A couple of questions, Ms. Hill, that I might ask, and I'll just ask them all, and then I can refresh if you need them. But I assume you have, or do you intend to have further statements of fact as we go forward from here today?
Not today, but we do in future hearings.
In the future,
right.
all right.
Right.
Would you want to elaborate a little bit on what, or could you, what agencies had the responsibility to respond to the warnings? We've heard so much about the warnings for 2 or 3 years. Would you have any comment from your research and your study that who should have been responding? Military? Who?
Well, it would depend on what you mean, a warning from the intelligence community or the reports. I mean,
well, a combination. Did we fail as part of our lesson learned, if we can, in the area of maybe there should have been some responses going out to somebody else?
well, some of this information was disseminated further, some was not disseminated. Some, for instance, that we talked about, some went to the FAA in certain cases, and then they in turn would put out a warning. For instance, I talked about the one instance of the terrorist attack to commercial private industry. So it depends on the nature of what the threat was and who they would warn.
I think in your further analysis, and maybe what I'm asking is that you share with us as you look at it and have more time, if there's some things that we could put in this.
We are, I can say that we are pursuing the whole issue of, there's questions of warnings and dissemination of information is not just sharing information, as Senator Levin was talking about, within the intelligence community between the FBI and CIA, for example, but also sharing threat information beyond the intelligence community to the agencies within government, outside the community, and also to the private sector, which gets into the warning and how far this information went. And that is an area we're looking at, and we haven't yet, come back with a report on it, but we are looking at that. And that's a valid point, because the intelligence not only is the job to get the good intelligence and to analyze it, but then to disseminate it to people who can use it in a timely manner. So.
Okay, thank you. And I got a little bit of time left. Do you have any comment about all the emphasis on bin Laden and his activities and his lack of being able, prior to September the 11th, that is, lack of ability to bring damage to us? Did that lure our people into complacency, even at the senior levels?
I think part of it is, as I alluded to earlier, is that the community, does get so much information. And as I said in the statement, there were a lot of these threats coming in but a lot of them, they couldn't really corroborate. They didn't know if some of them were true or not true. So I think, it may be human nature. If you keep hearing this stuff all the time and nothing happens and you never really know if it's accurate, you tend to start disregarding it. And the problem is that buried in the middle of all that, where some may be accurate, some may be not, there may be something that really is important that needs to be looked at. So it may be that when the threat level was very high and all the chatter was coming through, it was hard to distinguish what was really legitimate and something they needed to be concerned about.
Well, thank you very much. My time is up. I appreciate the hard work that you've presented to us, the straightforwardness, and I'm looking forward to what you further have to say as we go on from here.
Thank you.